let's talk about what else. Did you have anything to say on these first scenes? I went over the the Rhaenyra thing, where this was from. I know that leaks have been saying that this was going to be a scene, and so then Aegon and his stupid crown that's too big,
You know
and
about these
then
leaks? I don't know anything about these leaks.
oh yeah, well yeah, I pay
There
attention.
is some stuff I wanted to say, but I'm saving that for when we record the podcast
Okay,
tomorrow.
okay.
But yeah, about that scenes. Yeah, there is something I wanted to say about that, but I'm saving it for. I do have something on Christian Cole though.
What's that on Kristen? On Kristen?
So Kristen Cole is probably the most butchered character, not in a severely bad way, not the way they
Hmm.
butchered some of the other characters from Game of Thrones, but not the way like Euron was butchered. But Kristen Cole is vastly different than he is in the books, and I kind of hate it. So in the show, and as much as I hate this word, he's kind of a simp for Alicent, and
Hmm.
he's a whiny bitch. He
Hmm.
acts like a jilted ex-boyfriend. Then he kills
Yeah.
Joffrey Lonmouth. Okay. Then
Uh
he
huh.
wants to kill himself, and then she saves him. Fast
Yeah.
forward 10, 15 years later, he's calling Rhaenyra quote unquote cunt. He is just doing all this crap. In the books, he is more focused and confident. In the books, he has his own agenda and he is just, doing things on his own. Kinda. He also allegedly throws Beesbury out a window, which that's my headcanon that I'm going with. But in the show, it's different. He's unsure, he's insecure, he's a little bitch, and in that Green Council scene where they had the nail, he is not part of the conspiracy,
Hmm.
and he's more or less moving things forward. He's frustrated because Beesbury is saying all this stuff, and Beesbury might throw a wrench in the
Right. Right.
plans. And the only reason he moves against Beesbury is because of his frustration, because he wants to
Hmm.
strike at Rhaenyra and advance Alicent's interests. And he's not. And Dragon Demand's made a very good point. He's not
Yeah.
the kingmaker like he is in the books. He doesn't crown Aegon. That's his whole shtick. He's the kingmaker.
So I mean, part of this is that George like retconned Kristen Cole, and it's a little too bad. I mean, he did it for a reason, but like originally the Dance of the Dragons was only really. I mean, it started out as in its first mentions, besides it being in the appendix, in a framing of from the minds of Kingsguard. Like, so have Jamie talking about it to Loras, and we have um Ares Oakart talking about him to Arion. I guess Arian's the one that brings him up first, and so she frames him as a sexist, and and like from the beginning, what we know about the Dance of the Dragons is Kristen Cole, the kingmaker, that he's the one that's doing it all. Like he's the one that like he is a Kingsguard that changed the course of history, and he shouldn't have done that. And then George goes and writes this other story where Kristen Cole is a fucking minor character, and like and retcons all of that, right? So I don't know. It's hard to even piece together the character of Kristen Cole because George retconned him so much and he's all over the map. I mean, I will say that like Kristen Cole is kind of a whiny bitch in the books when he's sitting there complaining that like, oh, we can't let Rhaenyra on the throne because after Rhaenyra comes Jace, and and he's a bastard, and that's the worst. And um so he does seem to have it out for Rhaenyra. He does, but and it is really weird that whatever their falling out happened 15 years earlier, and he's still hung up on this. So, and then he kind of disappears from the story, and like is not important at all, even in Fire and Blood. He just kind of disappears. So he goes from being the most important character, the pivotal character of the story, to being essentially written out, um, to being like I don't know, a guy who convinced Aegon, though the conspiracy already happened, so it didn't even matter. He was going to be convinced anyway. Like the so I don't know. I think it's George's fault on this one. I mean, the show is doing what they can with Criston Cole. Like that, you're right. He
Yeah,
comes off
but
as a whiny bitch. He's supposed to.
but out of all the scenes they had to nail, it was the Green Council, and he just kills
Mhm.
Beesbury out of frustration. Sit down, like that could have been done better. He should have just thrown Beesbury
Yeah.
out the window. And I do like how I'm actually conflicted.
Considering that the show is usually going for shock, you'd
Right.
think that would be the way to go. Yeah.
But he did it out of frustration. He doesn't seem like he has a control of the situation, and in the books he does. In Fire and Blood he does. It seems like he is in on it the entire time. Even Alicent is blindsided when everyone's like, "Wait, what? What's going on here?" In the show, but in the books, she's also in on
Yeah.
it. So
But to be fair, you could read in and say like, well, Kristen Cole, like he killed Joffrey Lonmouth in that tourney because he couldn't control himself, and like the flail or Morningstar, because George gets that wrong, but like the flail is like a metaphor for who he is. He's out of control, just like a flail is not something that
hmm,
can be controlled very well, you know.
fair.
But you could play that. You could play that. The thing is, none of these characters are fleshed out very well in the books, so like you can do them as they are. I mean, I do think he's entertaining in the sense that we can all make fun of him for being like the worst, like the whiniest motherfucker in the world. You know, girl, girl has sex with me once 15 years ago. And I'm still hung up on her. Man, must have been some very good virgin sex that he had.
The this is why I said we needed one more episode in the past. I would have had episode 6 be an episode where you split it in half. Alicent wants to go back to the Hightower to meet with her father a month after the wedding with Laenor. Alicent wants to go back. Criston accompanies her. While on the road, they get to know each other. We find out his morals, his beliefs, why he feels so strongly the way he does. And then back in King's Landing, Harwin Strong is still tasked with protecting Rhaenyra, and of course she sneaks out. He follows her, a little plaything, and then they start to get into each other. We needed one more episode to establish those two relationships specifically. So
Yeah. All right. So I get this one. Jeez. Also, I'm once again asking you to order yourself some spaghetti pasta and eat it on stream. And if you put a flashlight up your ass and another guy's flashlight, it's no homos. The body parts are not touching. All right.